What is going on, everybody? It's the Frown. Someone here for AEW Fight for the Fallen 2021 review for July the 28th, 2021. This is featured the second labor of Jericho with Nick Gage. We also had a 10-man elimination tag team match with the Elite versus the Dark Order. We also had Santana Ortiz versus FTR, which we'll talk about that in a minute because bad news for FTR when it comes to the injury standpoint. We also had Lance Archer defending his newly won IWGP US Heavyweight Championship versus Hikeuleo with, after this match, a new challenger and a very surprising challenger coming for that championship, but when we do not know. And Helico and Private Party took on Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. So that was a six-man tag match. Julia Hart took on Thunder Rosa, the newly signed Thunder Rosa, as she was signed to a full-time AEW contract on her birthday. Talk about a hell of a birthday present. And we'll talk about that more later. And of course, Chris Jericho took on Nick Gage in a no-rules match. And obviously, without even getting into the match, you know Jericho's going to win. But what will Labor number 3 be? And can you even top Nick Gage? We'll talk about all that in a bit. So, the show, of course, is in North Carolina tonight. The Elite took on the Dark Order and Hangman and Page to start the show. Hangman and Page and the Dark Order got this cool entrance. They had this video package on what it takes to be a cowboy. You don't need a hat, a bunch of other stuff. Then they're all in the line. You have spotlights going off left and right until it gets into the middle with Hangman Adam Page, who's come out with these black leather everything with purple roses on it, which looked awesome. They come out, all the Dark Order also wearing handkerchiefs around their necks, so that was awesome. And then not to be it all done, the Elites get their own Space Jam-esque entrance. They had the Elite Squad. They all came out wearing shirts and jerseys and shorts, all getting this basketball entrance by Justin Roberts, which was fun. They had the "You All Ready for This" song, which was fucking great. They come running down. There's this big, huge Elite Squad sign that they run through. They brought a basketball hoop, all taking shots and everything. Just a bunch of good shit before the match started. Now, this match was fun. Now, if anybody thought that the Dark Order and Hangman on Page were winning this match, you had another thing coming, because anybody could tell you that this is not the time for them to win and get a title match for Hangman on Page or the Dark Order. We're getting close. I'm wondering if the match, because everyone's expecting the match to be Hangman versus Kenny Omega at the pay-per-view, and at the pay-per-view All Out. Now, I hope it is, but maybe they hold this off. Maybe they get somebody else to get that match at the All Out pay-per-view, as I'm thinking about this over the last few weeks. Maybe Hangman on the Pages for Full Gear, which would make absolutely no sense. The reason I say All Out makes sense is last year. When did they lose the AEW World Tag Team titles to FTR? They lost them at All Out. This all started slowly from All Out. To go 1 full year-ish and have Hangman Adam Page win the World Heavyweight Championship the night on the same show that they lost the World Tag Team titles and Kenny Omega just left him for dead, just makes all the sense in the world to me. Now, of course, Hangman Adam Page started the match, and of course, Kenny Omega wanted to start the match, but Carl Anderson's like, no, man, I'm gonna start the match. So, good back and forth between these two teams. You had Alex Reynolds gets eliminated first by Carl Anderson. And Carl Anderson gets trapped between all four corners with Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, John Silver, and Hangman Adam Page. They go ham on him. He eats a fatality. He is eliminated. Not too long after that, Luke Gallows and Stu Grayson get into a big brawl, and they end up going outside of the ring into the crowd. They get counted out, which is the first count out on TV, I think, ever. I know they did a count out, this double count on double DQ bullshit with Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler when they were trying to find out who's going to get the first win in AEW between the two. And, yeah, but they get counted out. Evil Uno gets eliminated. It's down to John Silver and them. Now, this match did two things in the closing stages. John Silver gets to run ham all over everybody. Looks like a fucking star in the making, facing off against these other three guys. Just getting as much in as he could, fighting to try and win this one and win it all. And then he gets eliminated. It's down to Hangman Page. It's 3-on-1. Hangman Adam Page fights and fights and fights and fights until he did get rid of Matt Jackson. It's down to 2. He looks like he's going to be able to get everyone else. But no, in the end, it was too much. 1 Winged Angel. 1, 2, 3. And the Elite are your winners. I cannot tell you I love this build. I think this was a perfect thing. Hangman on a Page does not look weak going into this loss. John Silver, of course, also, in my opinion, John Silver was the MVP of this match, by far. He got the most shine of everyone else. I feel like AEW, because he's back from injury, was... Yeah, having him get... It just feels like they're going to have this guy go out there, and he's going to break out from these guys. So, yeah, I feel like he's eventually going to break away from the Dark Order, and he's going to be like a big name in AEW. So, basically, with Hangman losing, they're trying to delay this as much as possible, because if he won the match tonight... They still have 4 weeks. They still have 4 weeks till the pay-per-view. You don't have to get this match to the pay-per-view. We don't even have to have this match. We don't even have to have this match official until I'd say 2 weeks before the pay-per-view. So we still got 3 weeks. There's a lot that can be done between now and then. So. Hangman, if Hangman would have went in there and he would have just got DQ'd, disqualified, they would have had him lose, in a very weak fashion. I would have been like, yeah, he's done. They're not going to, they dropped the ball on this and Hangman looks bad. But no, Hangman fought and fought and fought and fought until the man advantage got too much and he did the best he could and he ended up losing. No harm in that. See, the thing about it is that people are like, oh, if you lose a match, you're automatically buried. No. That is not how it goes. It's like, this is why people say in WWE, say wins and losses do not matter. That depends on how they are booked in the loss. Karrion Kross getting beat last week on Monday Night Raw in a minute and a half is burying the guy. If Jeff Hardy and Karrion Kross had a match, and Jeff Hardy him and Jeff Hardy have a back and forth match, and Jeff Hardy ekes out a win by the skin of his teeth, then I'd be like, no. Then I wouldn't have been as upset or as pissed off as everyone else was, but with the fact that you had him lose in a minute 30 or less is what made that match hurt. Having Hangman Adam Page get pinned here doesn't hurt him because he fought with every fiber of his being to win this match when it came down to a 3-on-1 advantage, and he got Matt Jackson out of the match and brought it down to a 2-on-1, but the advantage just got too heavy, too big, and he couldn't do anything about it. So I can't wait to see what they do with the Hangman, and I'm all in on this world title run, in this world title feud, and the big thing is Hangman's got to win when this is done and over with. You cannot have all this build delaying this if we don't have Hangman walking away with the title when this match happens. That's all I got to say. See, they could make it Full Gear if they really wanted to. The reason they could do Full Gear is because that was the night that Hangman Adam Page got beat by Kenny Omega to go face Jon Moxley at Winter is Coming. So they had the two options. If they want to do it at All Out, they can, because it makes sense. That's when the team broke up. But also, if they want to have Hangman win the title at Full Gear, it makes sense too, because that was the night that was the night also when this feud took another step. So Alex Marvez was set to interview Death Triangle when only Pac is there. Pac said Phoenix and Penta are here, but a certain someone canceled their car. In comes Andrade, and Chavo walks up. Chavo says Phoenix and Penta are arriving thanks to them ordering Penta and Phoenix a limo. Andrade tells Pac in order to order better rides for his guys, or someone will do it for him. Just, here's the thing. Less is more with Andrade. You have Chavo there. I don't really want to hear Andrade speak that often. Just have him, unless he wants to speak in his native tongue, his native language, that's fine. But I don't need to hear him talking every single week. Just, no thank you. So, Taz is on the podium, on the stage. He announces new FTW champion, Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks comes out. They have a bunch of people playing him down to the ring. And I was like, I don't really care about this. He comes in. He does cut a really good promo about how he knows how to be a star. He says he's been the glue and the anchor of the group this whole time. He could forgive for some of the things Cage did, but when he has his neck injury, Cage didn't even check up on him. He says he's becoming the star that Cage was trying to figure out how over the last 17 years he talks trash until Brian Cage comes out with some new music, which, it was okay. Beats up the guy with the tuba, knocks him out, knocks down a guy who has a drum, grabs the drum, puts it over the drummer's head. Then he grabs the tuba, and JR with the line of the night there is no place in wrestling for tubas, or trombones, not tubas, trombones. Of course, that's a shot at Xavier Woods. I wonder if Xavier Woods will throw any shade at JR for that one. Cage gets in the ring, but Stark throws some flowers he got from a plant, and he gets out of the ring and runs up the ramp. So that's going to be your match at All Out. A rematch between those two, probably for the FTW World title, and of course Brian Cage should win and then just trash the FTW World title and get rid of it. So, especially with the fact that the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship has been a fixture in AEW, we really don't need the FTW title. Then we had Hiroshi Tanahashi. He says, it's New Japan's Pro Wrestling's master, Hiroshi Tanahashi. I gotta say, the US Heavyweight Championship has quite a charm to it. I won a lot of titles in my career so far, but I've never been the US champ. So I'll be challenging the winner of tonight's title match. And it will be taking that title within a snap. And that is great. Hiroshi Tanahashi is coming to AEW. Honestly, with the way things have been lately, it just feels like the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship is the bridge between New Japan and AEW. If that title gets off of a AEW wrestler and goes to somebody who doesn't actually work for the company, then we probably won't see it ever again. Which tells you what's going on with Hikeuleo versus Lance Archer later. Santana Ortiz with Conan versus FTR with Tully Blanchard. This was the problem I have with this match is it just doesn't feel like it didn't get to where we expected it to be. It was a good match until Cash. It was Cash who was up on the top rope, gets hit with something and just comes down hard. And don't know what happened. All I know is this match really feels like it got cut short because Dax Harwood wins it with a brainbuster for the cover. So FTR wins, and then we see Dax Harwood go check on Cash, and Cash is bleeding up and down his arm. So I don't know what happened. I don't know, he was up on the apron or up on the top rope. It looked like, and he just got knocked over and got fucked up somehow. And all I know is this looked bad. This looked bad. I'm gonna pull up a picture for myself to look at. Yeah, he got cut pretty badly. Someone says he actually got it stuck in a metal piece in the ring post, spurted blood pretty badly. So, yeah, Cash Wheeler is hurt pretty badly. Yeah, that looks terrible. Just like we see blood, there's like blood on his arm, blood on his leg, blood on the floor. Yeah, he took a big one. So, for someone who's been cut pretty badly before, almost cutting his fingers off, I know what it feels like to have a pretty bad cut. I wish the best for that Cash Wheeler, and hopefully no veins or anything got cut, because that would be bad. And the last thing we need to have is somebody from the Pinnacle or the Inner Circle getting injured as this feud with them continues. So, speedy recovery to Cash Wheeler and everything else. We get more bullshit from the Faker. I really don't care. So, now, Tony Schiavone says we have a announcement from Tony Khan. Of course, we don't ever usually hear from Tony Khan. The only time Tony Khan's really been on TV was for the Brody Lee tribute. So, from Tony Khan through Tony Schiavone, Rampage, of course, is going to be premiering August 13th. Live from Pittsburgh. The week after that, Rampage is going to be live in Chicago in the United Center for what they are calling the First Dance. Which, if anybody realizes what that means, that was, of course, a take on the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. So, the only reason they're putting this in the United Center is because this confirmed, this, like I said, don't believe anything till you see it, until you see them come in. This all but confirms CM Punk is here. CM Punk is All Elite, and CM Punk is making his debut in the United Center. And quite honestly, if you think about it, CM Punk making his debut in the United Center is a bigger deal than making his debut in the Now Center. I'm just saying. So, yeah. It's going to be a big fucking deal for that. Then we go to the back, and here's Darby Allin.
We just heard the huge news. AEW coming to the United Center in Chicago, August 20th. The First Dance for Rampage.
I'll be in Chicago. You know, I've been around a lot of men in this world that have laid claim to how they're the greatest. And there's only one place to really prove that. Right here in AEW. Even if you think you are the best in the world.
Even the crowd knows what that means. So, obviously, it would be a big deal for having CM Punk make his debut at All Out in Chicago. But everyone wants him to be a big name. Everyone has it earmarked for him being a big deal for AEW. And quite honestly, they need somebody big for an episode for one of the early episodes of Rampage to really make that show feel like it matters. I mean, just go look back at WCW Thunder, the second show, 2 hours TBS I think it was, on Thursday night at first and Wednesday because SmackDown came in. Nobody took that show seriously. It never felt like a big deal. It was just a joke from day one. They don't want that to have the feeling of Rampage. Having CM Punk make his debut there would make a lot of sense. And honestly, I feel like it would AEW doesn't want it would make more sense for Rampage in the United Center because, again, CM Punk is that big of a name for a lot of people. Me, I really could care less if CM Punk comes in. I'd rather have Bryan Danielson than CM Punk. But the night makes sense if you really expect it to be. So, CM Punk, not confirmed, but they were teasing this so much. So, everyone should be expecting August 20th. That is less than a month away. That is 2 weeks away, right? 3 weeks. 3 weeks away. 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks away from this Friday. CM Punk could possibly be making his debut on Rampage. I won't say anything else about it until we get there and we have it happen. Other than this, if you're going to have CM Punk make his debut, he makes his debut at the end of the night, not at the beginning, because that just takes away from the rest of the show. Whatever you're doing live there, you gotta have like CM Punk there at the end of the show. Maybe Darby main events, because he did tease CM Punk. So maybe CM Punk versus Darby Allin is the way they're gonna go, in the direction they're gonna go. Which would be fucking huge for Darby Allin, whether you're a fan of CM Punk coming back or not. That's huge, because CM Punk still has a big name. And having Darby be the first one to go, that's going to be huge for Darby. But we'll have to wait and see. So, that is all I'm going to say about the CM Punk possibly going to be on Rampage. Why else would they go to the United Center? But my thing about this is, the United Center is huge. It's way bigger than the Now Center. Why is Rampage getting the United Center and AEW in Wednesday night is not? By the way, where are they going to be at on the 20th, the 18th? Because I know next week is Homecoming in Jacksonville. Then they're going to be in Pittsburgh for the 11th. Where are they going to be for the Pittsburgh for the show that week? They're not going to be in Chicago for AEW until All Out. So, where are they going to be at for the Wednesday night show? Unless they're taping it, which I doubt that, but where are they going to be at for the Wednesday show? Houston. Oh, okay, so they're going to be in Houston. Back to Houston already? Wow. But Houston looks like they're going to be in Houston for that. Then they're going to be in Milwaukee the week after that. So, yeah, that's just so weird that they're going to be, because they're going to be in Chicago for Wednesday night on the 1st, Rampage for the 3rd, and then All Out on the 5th. So, yeah, I don't know why. That's going to be really interesting, because as far as we know, Tony Khan has talked about Rampage being a taped show on nights that aren't pay-per-view or the first show. But they just announced tonight that they're going to have not just week 1, but week 2 are going to be live shows. Has Tony Khan come out with having a live show on Friday nights every week, and maybe that's where Dark Elevation gets taped? Because quite honestly, you're not going to sit there and have people buy tickets for just a 1-hour show and then say, hey, that 1 hour's up, go home. No, they're going to have something taped there as well. So, I don't know what else is going to happen. It doesn't have anything else. They don't have anything else on the docket for live shows for Rampage until, of course, Chicago in September. But it just doesn't make any sense to me how they're going to go to that. That's just interesting. But we'll have to find out. Maybe they start announcing that Rampage is going to be a full-time live show every week. I doubt that. That feels like a money loser. But I just don't get I don't get why Rampage gets the first crack at the United Center. I felt like that would be a Wednesday night show. Maybe something happens in Houston. Maybe they go to United. I just don't know. It makes no sense. Anyway, we move on to the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. Lance Archer versus Hikeuleo. Hikeuleo actually came out with King Haku. And that motherfucker still looks like he could whip your ass and break your arms if he needs to. He might look older, but my God, does he still look like a guy that you don't want to fuck with. I've read, I've heard, I think Solomon talked about it in one of his past things that past podcasts that I heard, is that there were guys from back in days, like back in the 90s and the 80s, that they did not fuck with Haku. If they were, and they would bring Haku with them, if I'm correct, to bars in case somebody tried to start shit. Haku could just fuck him up. So he brings his dad to the ring. It is Hikuleo's dad, which, my God, he's twice the size of his dad. Wonder what how tall his mom is, cause sheesh. Archer comes down. This is a big boy fight. Was it a great match? No. It was a good match. Wasn't great. I mean, it's two big burly men. And honestly, it just, unless you're going to have these guys going out there shoot fighting, you're not going to have the greatest match. The spot of the match of course, is Archer going for the blackout. Hikeuleo gets out of it. Archer goes up top, and they hit the massive superplex off the top rope, making the referee jump 2 feet off the ground, off the arc. They fight some more. Hikeuleo gets put back up on the apron. Big blackout. 1, 2, 3, and Archer retains the championship. Commentary says Archer will travel to Japan to face Tanahashi, so apparently that match is not going to be happening here. It's going to be happening in New Japan Pro Wrestling, which that would be a big disappointment if Tanahashi is not going to be here and they're going to have it in Japan. Why would you have us? Why would you tease us, man? If you're not going to have Tanahashi come here to defend that title, why would you have that? Why would you do that? You could just have New Japan World put it on their YouTube channel for that instead of like, oh well, we're gonna have this challenge happen there. Unless Tanahashi's coming here, it's just that feels like a waste of time. Backstage production, Marvez with Cody about his match against Malachi Black. Rose about to say something when we get a big boot out of nowhere. 2 ends up battling to the stage. Rhodes blasts Black, but it needed a face. Welcome to the House of Black, he says. A couple people come out, including Fuego del Sol, who checks on Cody. Black says, well, you're a victim tonight. Pulls Fuego into up and hits him with the Black Mass, which got so much heat online from fans of Fuego del Sol. You want to know how to get heat on Malachi Black? Get this guy booed. Have him beat up Fuego del Sol. Have him kick Fuego del Sol's head off. That's how you get heat on Malachi Black. I looked on social media and there was so many people just wanting to like if they were there or they were at Jacksonville next Wednesday, they're gonna boo the hell out of Malachi Black. So well done by AEW. Sent the perfect person out there to eat a Black Mass from Malachi Black, and Fuego sold it as if he just got fucking killed. Beautiful, beautiful sell job. Miro says he won the TNT title. He had an open challenge, but over time his challenges have dried up. He says Lee Johnson is a talented wrestler, but he nor anyone else is going to take this title. He says Lee can face him and will run away, but either way, he'll face the reckoning next week. How is Lee Johnson getting a title match, you may ask, if you don't watch Dark? Well, as you know, AEW has this elite general manager for the rich people who have phones that can support it, because half the people in the world can't even fucking play the game because you have to have a high quality phone from the last 4 years. If you have anything before that, you can't play it because AEW was fucking stupid. Instead of making something that would be able to fit phones over the last 7 years or so, because there are some good phones that still last that long, they went, well, we're going to get phones that are over the last 4 years. Very fucking stupid. But anyway, they had a tournament between talent and content creators. It was an invitational, so you had to be invited, whatever. And a content creator won, and he got to pick a match between Lee Johnson and somebody. He picked Luther for Lee Johnson to face. If Lee Johnson won, he gets a title match against Miro at Homecoming, and that's what's going to happen. Poor Lee Johnson. We get Angelico and Private Party versus Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus before the match really gets started. Tony Schiavone reads a note that says that QT Marshall was supposed to apologize to him tonight, but he wants to wait till they're in Jacksonville so Tony's family could be in attendance so he can apologize in front of Tony's family. Oh, ain't that just special? So we have this match. It really wasn't anything special. Cute Luchasaurus and then win with this Cage frog splash for the 1, 2, 3. He did, and him and Marco Stunt did chase away Matt Hardy at one time, but he came back. After the match, Christian's, he's shaking hands, he's kissing baby, he's, not really, but he's, celebrating with the fans are at ringside, smacking hands and everything, when Blade sneaks in with the brass knuckles and moves on. So, we get a promo from Nick Gage, and then we move on to Julia Hart with the Busting Blondes versus Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa, of course, is the newly signed woman, and now she's the #1 contender. All out. She needs to win the championship, take the title off the worst women's champion in AEW history, and put prestige back on that championship, because the longer the Faker holds that championship, the cheaper it becomes. Get that title off of the worst woman you have in holding that championship and put it on somebody who can actually make it prestigious as hell. Get that title on Thunder Rosa. Have Thunder Rosa go through everybody who you can. Build up somebody who actually looks believable and actually knows how to fucking wrestle and knows how to cut an actual promo. Some dumbass on social media was like, can you name anybody in AEW who's a better promo than Faker? You can't. Nick Gage cut a hell of a promo tonight. Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, Thunder Rosa, Red Velvet, MJF, Santana, Ortiz, Dax Harwood. Everybody in the company cuts a better promo than the Faker. Until she loses that championship, the women's division will not be where it needs to be, or where it could be. She's bringing the women's division down. Get the title off of her at All Out. Give it to Thunder Rosa, a true professional wrestler who can actually make that title mean something. Because right now, it looks like a fucking toy. So you had Thunder Rosa take on Julia Hart. It was, of course, Thunder Rosa's official first match as a full-time contract wrestler. Of course, she was signed to the NWA, and her contract was supposed to run through next year. And obviously, she tried to get a release from NWA last year because she was apparently supposed to be going to WWE, which I'm sure she's thankful that didn't happen, with the way that women's division on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT are really booked right now. And she can go do other things. She could show up in Impact like she did at Slammiversary. She can go to all these other things, run her wrestling school, and work once a week in AEW, maybe twice a week if there's a pay-per-view. And be the next AEW Women's Champion, because the Faker needs to lose it. Now, Julia Hart, she's 19 years old. I don't think she's 20 yet, but she's 19 years old. She's just barely into the business. There was no chance. She's got a long way to go. In my opinion, this match should have been on Dark or Dark Elevation. Of course, having her go up against Thunder Rosa on TV in her rookie year shows you how much faith they have and how much stock they want to get into Julia Hart, how much potential they see in her to eventually be good. There's a lot of spots in this. Like, she had a couple hope spots here and here that looked good, but there's a lot that she did also that, yeah, she's still young. This is probably like her 7th or 8th match in her career. So I'd say this time next year, we're going to look at Julia Hart, and she's going to look nothing like she does right now. Of course, Thunder Rosa won. No problem. No doubt about it. And we move on. So next week, we have Miro versus Lee Johnson, AEW TNT title match. Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. The Bunny takes on Layla Hirsch. The winner gets a shot at the NWA Women's World Championship. Why? I don't know. The winner will take on Camille and lose to Camille. So honestly, in my opinion, if you're going to have anybody lose to Camille, just have the Bunny get a cheap win, go on to face Camille at NWA Empower, which is the all-women's pay-per-view, and move on. Christian Cage with Jungle Boy and the Blade versus with the Jungle Boy takes on the Blade with Matt Hardy next week. The turn is coming soon. I just don't know if it's going to be next week or the week after that, but I feel Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage is the match for those two at All Out. Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage, the Five Labors of Jericho, Chapter 2, No Rules match. This was bloody. Holy shit, this match was fucking bloody. Bloody, the pizza cutter came into play twice. Nick Gage had a second pizza cutter on him. Light tubes, a Frankensteiner threw a pane of glass in between two chairs. Just, wow, just so much blood, so much violence. TNT let them get away with a lot more than I thought they were going to. We got light tubes, which honestly, light tubes don't look, especially with Jericho wearing a t-shirt and he gets smacked across the back, light tubes don't look as bad. I mean, the pane glass, the glass pane was probably worse because that was real glass. That wasn't no sugar glass or anything else, which Nick Gage refuses to use. And he actually took shit on he talked shit on Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega because like they're having barbed wire death match and there's hardly any blood. He says, just like the match they had at Full Gear #1, and they didn't have much blood at all coming from anything. Yeah, this was brutal. Jericho missed him in the face as Nick Gage brings in the light tubes that he has 4 stacked up, taped together. He's going to hit Jericho. Jericho hits him with the Muda Mist, grabs the light tubes, smacks him over the head with it. Judas effect, 1, 2, 3. So Jericho wins and survives, going on to Labor #3. MJF on the mic as he was out there for comedy says they aren't done here yet. He tells Jericho to listen to him. He says the third stipulation, he has to hit a top rope maneuver to win. He can see a clip of 2019. He says, I held a little bit of a grudge when Chris Jericho and him were in the ring in 2019. Jericho bringing up Juventud Guerrera in a joke about MJF getting conceived. And Jericho says, I Googled him. And next week, I guess it's next week, MJF announces that after 15 years away from TNT, Juventud Guerrera takes on Jericho. How the fuck is that 15 years? Wouldn't it be 20 years? When was wrestling on TNT for Juventud Guerrera? Unless Juvi was on something on TNT in 2006, I have no idea what the hell he said 15 years. I'd say 22 or something. Or maybe 20. But yeah, Juventud Guerrera next week. Now, that's cool and all. Juventud Guerrera is a legend. Going to be great to see him back, see what he does. But I just don't. It feels downgrade to Nick Gage. In my opinion, it feels like Nick Gage should have been the final participant, the final labor. Because how are you going to top a no rules match against Nick fucking Gage? I just don't know. I don't know how you can top Nick Gage. It just don't know. But that was Fight for the Fallen. It was a heck of a show. AEW just fighting on all cylinders still as we get closer and closer to All Out. All I know is All Out this year needs to be a knock out of the park show because last year's show was terrible. It was probably the worst pay-per-view they've had in AEW's history. But we'll have to wait and see what happens as we've got a ways to go. But that is your AEW Fight for the Fallen 2021 review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the France Club, find me on Instagram at the France Club, and find me on twitch.tv/the France Club. And I will see you guys on Friday for SmackDown. Till then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.